My name is Jerron Wheeler, and I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. And I want to tell you all a story about sort of a moment in my life. So about a year ago now, I was working at what we call a national law firm as an attorney, doing corporate litigation, corporate transactions, fancy stuff for fancy people, making way more money than anybody's ever made in my family. And so you would think that means that I was successful. And so it may appear that way externally, but internally I was suffering. And so I found myself in the lowest moment of my life. And that's because my physical health was at an all-time low. My mental health was at an all-time low. I wasn't spending time with my children. I wasn't there for my wife. I was working nonstop. And so in that moment, I was reminded of something. And I was reminded of who inspires me and what I'm inspired by. And so in this trip, it's when we went to the Civil Rights Institute, it reminded me of what my inspiration was in that time. And so if you think of some of our prominent civil rights leaders, take Dr. Martin Luther King Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, he is someone that possessed the oratorical skills, the leadership skills. He was a visionary, and with those traits, he could have been successful doing anything, right? He would have been a successful CEO, he could have been a doctor, an entrepreneur, all these things. But what has always inspired me about his story and so many others like him is that he chose to give his time, talents, and resources to the movement, to a better world, to a future that he wouldn't see. And so that has always touched me ever since I was a little kid. And so when I found myself in this low place, this low fancy place, right, which on the surface, this is the pinnacle of all the work that I've put in undergraduate, graduate, law school, I should be happy, but I'm not. And so I made a change. I quit. Despite how crazy that sounded to so many, whether it's my family, my friends, the outside world, social media, it was the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. And so where I left to is the public defender's office. And for those who don't know what that is, pretty much in any jurisdiction, it's a court-appointed lawyer for those who can't afford one. And so in this space, I've been able to represent the least, the lost, and the forgotten. And rightfully, or not rightfully, but definitely underpaid, overworked. But even in that space, I'm filled. And so I tell you all this story because we may be in different places in our journey, right? Some of us may be at the precipice of something very similar in your own life. You work somewhere, you feel chained to it because of money or benefits or status or something external. And, feel free to use me sort of as motivation to take that leap. Others of us in the room may know that they're currently in the place that they were meant to be, but you may be tired or exhausted or weary or wondering about what's on the other side. And so I stand here to tell you that the grass isn't green on the other side. You're in the right space. Take the break that you need, take the time that you need, but success, or at least my definition of success, is about working towards becoming the best version of yourself, working towards living out your purpose. And if you feel like you're on that journey, right, you're already successful, okay? I stand here to tell you that success is in the journey, it's not a destination, right? It's not in a title, it's not at a certain organization, you're already successful. And so I just want to thank CIS for giving me the opportunity to tell this story, and I look forward to sharing and going on our collective journeys together. Thank you.